Yeah, the Boston Red Sox. They stink. They are not a very good baseball team right now, and coming off of a year where they were just a couple of wins away from the World Series. What's going on? What's the problem with the Boston Red Sox? So I really started thinking about this, and last year, heading into the season, I predicted them to make the playoffs. When nobody else was, I thought they were good enough to make the playoffs. And I will say, they overachieved a little bit last year, in my opinion. Their offense is good and can be really good, but I think the whole team overperformed a little bit, overachieved. Nobody was expecting them to be in the ALCS and to be a couple of wins away from the World Series. So now you come into this season, 2022, and expectations are higher than I feel like they should have been. Yes, the offense can be really good, but the pitching is just not there for this Red Sox team. But you know what also hasn't been there all year long? The offense. This Boston Red Sox team needs to be better than they are. They're in dead last place in the AL East. Yes, one of the best divisions, if not the best division in baseball. But they shouldn't be in dead last place behind the Orioles. The Red Sox are averaging 2.65 runs per game in their last 20 games, of which they've gone 5-15. 2 runs or fewer in 12 of those games, plus 3 and 4 runs twice, and 5 runs 3 times. That's really bad. That tweet adds sad at the end. Red Sox stats with that tweet. It's really bad. So let's start with that offense, because the offense is what needs to be better. This team is built to hit. They're built to be good offensively, and if they are not, well, they're going to be really bad. And right now, they are really bad. Let's look into this. They are 28th in Major League Baseball scoring runs at just 3.28 runs per game. Only the Royals and the Tigers are worse than that. They're 28th in home runs, 26th in team OPS, and they have just 2 players on their roster hitting over 300. This is unprecedented for a team that should be so talented. Another tweet coming in from Tony Maserati. I don't think I've seen a Red Sox lineup this anemic in 30 years. 30 years. The Red Sox have started 10-19. Their worst start since just 2020, when they started 9-20. But this is just the 3rd time, okay? The 3rd time since 1966 that they have won 10 or fewer games in their first 29 games. They have a minus 15 home run differential through 29 games, which is the 3rd worst in franchise history. When you start talking franchise history and Boston Red Sox, that's a long, long time. The 3rd worst home run differential in franchise history. They've scored 95 runs through their first 29 games, which are the fewest since 1968. That's brutal. That's really bad. And that's just the offensive side of things. That was supposed to be what carried this team. Producer Conrad, it's not pretty.
It's not pretty, but I think one thing that baseball fans have to understand too, I'm sure Red Sox fans are all screaming it right now, they have been so unlucky. And I know every baseball fan says their team is unlucky at certain moments with certain plays, catches, strikes, calls. But I feel like at one point this season, the Red Sox got walked off like 6 straight games in a row. Toronto was just down like 3 or 4 runs each game. Now, how much does that play a factor into it and like overall demeanor? Like you keep getting walked off. You're winning games, then you lose in fashion like that. That has to have a major effect.
I'm sure it has an effect on the locker room, but I'm not going to sit here right now and say the Boston Red Sox have been so unlucky and that's why they are where they are. Sure, when it happens in the moment, it can affect the locker room, and when you're already not winning a bunch of games, it sucks to lose in an unlucky way, or if we're considering walk-offs unlucky, maybe you should have just scored more runs earlier in the game and you wouldn't have gotten walked off. But we just addressed they're not scoring any runs. This team's problem is they're not scoring any runs, and it takes runs to win a baseball game. It's been brutal. It's been pathetic. And I won't sit here and say that, yeah, you know, they're not very good, but they've gotten unlucky. Sure. But they just stink. And plain and simple, they need to be better. It's been atrocious. At home. At Fenway. It's supposed to be so difficult to go into Fenway Park and to win baseball games. At home, they've been averaging 2.29 runs per game. 26th in Major League Baseball. They just got swept by the Chicago White Sox. They lost the series to the Angels. It has been brutal. They are 24th in OPS at home, 23rd in home runs, with just 8 in 13 games. So I don't even know what the answer is for this team. You already up against it because you needed your offense to go above and beyond and be elite. That's what the Red Sox did last year. They went ahead and said, you know what? We're just going to score more runs than everybody else. We're going to prove that our offense is good enough to win ball games. And that's what they did. They just went and outslugged everybody. And this year, they just haven't been doing that. The pitching hasn't been great. The back end of the bullpen has so many question marks. Matt Barnes, who knows what you're getting night in and night out. His velocity to start the year was way down. Hansel Robles, you never really know. Jake Diekman, like, who's the guy at the back end of the bullpen that you can turn to? There's so many question marks. The bullpen, the starting rotation, and now even this offense is a big question mark. It is not looking good for the Boston Red Sox. They need to be playing better. There's going to be some heads that are rolling if they don't turn this around because it is not pretty. And when you're the Boston Red Sox and you're playing so poorly with a roster that is supposed to at least be in contention, you're paying a lot of guys. You're going to have to pay a lot of guys some money coming up here soon. And Xander Bogaerts, Rafael Devers, what are you going to do with those guys? I don't know. There's a lot of question marks, and them getting off to the start they are doesn't help anything. It is bad in Boston, and if they don't turn it around quick, there's going to be some big problems. That fan base is already not happy.
Ooh, coming in hot. All right.
Yeah, I mean, it's bad, man. It's look, before we move on, I want this Red Sox team to be good. I want baseball in Fenway Park to be rocking. It's such an incredible atmosphere. It's one of the best I have ever experienced. I want them in the playoffs. I want to see Fenway rocking in October. But to see them off to the start they are, it just sucks for the game of baseball, I think. Baseball needs the Red Sox, and the Red Sox should be good, and they're just not. And I'm not saying that they should win this division. I actually predicted that they wouldn't be in the playoffs this year. But they should be in contention. They're just in a really good division. But when it comes down to it, they have to be better than this. You can't be a month into the season and behind the Orioles in the standings. That's all I got on that. It does fire me up. You're right, because I want them to be better. I want Fenway Park doing what Fenway Park does best. Thanks for watching. If you love Flippin Bats, swinging 3-0, or just talking ball, join us. Call us at 213-537-9339 with your questions. We have a weekly guest, and we have a lot of fun, so hit that subscribe button.